So badly, yo. All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Yep, good. Perfect. So feel free, I know it's sort of dinner-ish time, so feel free to keep your camera off. If you want to keep your camera on, that's cool. My name is Liz Schmidt. I'm the Vice President of Property and Program with NYPENN Pathways. So welcome to everyone here. I also have Serafina Sortino, who is making her dinner in the background, and she's our programs manager. There you go. She's our Director of Programs with NYPENN. And we're going to be talking to you tonight about some really awesome trips that we're taking upcoming in 2024 and 2025. So if you have any questions, there's not very many of us in the meeting tonight. So feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask those questions, or even better, put them in the chat so that we can, Serafina can let me know that there are questions there. And that's it. So I'm going to share my screen. Lies. Please hold. Zoom changed all of its stuff around, and I have to find out where all the new buttons are. There we go. Play my slideshow from the beginning. So, travelers, this is me. This is actually old me, kind of like very old me. From 7, I took my honeymoon to Ireland. So this is me at the Cliffs of Moher, and it's actually, gosh, 2007, 16 years ago this weekend, honestly. So yeah, look at me, the young kipper that I was. So now I'm here to help you all have a great time in England, Ireland, and Wales in 2025. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And if you're interested in more of a tropical destination, we're hitting the Galapagos Islands in 2024. So let's get into it. Tonight, we're going to be doing our itineraries for both trips. So we're going to be talking about what that looks like. We're going to be talking about what's included with the price for both of those trips. I'm going to talk a little bit about EF Tours and why we choose to partner with this travel group to go on some of these international trips, and how they are making sure that our trips are safe and fun and awesome for all of our travelers. And then finally, of course, pricing on the trips and how to enroll. So that's our agenda for this evening. Why we travel, I think we all know the answer to that. And if you're a Girl Scout, which most of you are, I think, you know that our mission is to build girls of courage, confidence, and character. And what better way to do that than to drop them in cultures that they're unfamiliar with, far away from their homes, so that they can learn about their global environment and what it means to be a global citizen. On these trips, we get a better understanding of the cultures that we visit. We went to Japan. I took 54 Girl Scouts and adults with me to Japan this past summer, and it was amazing. There were a lot of cultural differences that occurred on this trip. Specifically, we had to get used to eating a lot of fish for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, all the fish. And why that was so important to the Japanese people and why they eat fish, certain types of fish and that sort of thing. It was a lot different. The language was a lot different. The written language was a lot different. The culture, gosh, so polite and efficient and soft and wonderful. And so it was a lot to get used to. But by the end of our tour, we had a better understanding of what the Japanese culture is all about. Confidence, of course, we want girls to become more independent when they take trips like this. They absolutely work on their leadership skills. On these trips, girls are allowed to go and discover things on their own. They have to make decisions. They have to advocate for themselves. They become their own leaders and leaders of the group when they're on this type of trip. And of course, self-discovery. You find out real quick how much you're able to take and how much you're able to do when you're running to catch a plane, or the metro is on the way and your bag is halfway down a flight of stairs, or you're in a restaurant and you don't know the language and you have to order yourself food. So it's a great way for girls to sort of have that leadership and self-discovery part of what we hope they get out of Girl Scouts. Why do we partner with EF Tours? There's a lot of tour groups out there. EF Tours is one of the best, actually the best, which is why we partner with them. They've been in this business for over 55 years. They have 600 offices all over the world, with lots of employees, and they have staff on 24/7 in order to help our girls. For Japan, we actually had a girl that was traveling on a separate flight than the rest of us, and her flight, we were flying into Detroit, she was flying into Minneapolis, and her flight got canceled while we were at the airport in Osaka. And we called EF Tours. It was 3 o'clock in the morning US time, and someone answered, and they worked with our tour guide, they worked with the airline to help her get a new flight into JFK, and to really make her feel better about the whole situation. So EF Tours is there 24/7 when we have issues. They've been a great support. So as I mentioned, they have local support. They've got Insight Worldwide. Their tour guides are usually from the place that we go to. So our two tour guides for Japan were both Japanese citizens, and so they were able to tell us all the ins and outs of that culture. They've got a great safety and incident response team, as I mentioned before. Health standards, including staying on top of things like COVID, and then of course the 24/7 tour director and chaperone support team. So I've only had to use that a couple of times, and like I said, when I have, they've been super responsive and helpful. So they're also a great education partner. If you have girls that are traveling on this trip, or Girl Scouts that are traveling, you can get high school and college credit for this type of trip. It's a cultural immersion. It looks great on college essays, obviously, and resumes for jobs. So this is a great way for girls to explore the world, but also to better themselves and sort of get going with their own personal journey. We have a peace of mind program. So you can book tonight or over the next couple of days. And actually, that's our risk-free. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But peace of mind, if something happens, for example, some groups were going to Paris this past summer. And as you may have seen, there were some riots in Paris and some unrest. And any group that was uncomfortable with that got to rebook their trip at a different time with no penalties. During COVID, obviously, trips got bumped and that sort of thing. So the Peace of Mind program is there to ensure that even if something happens, especially if it's unforeseen, that EF has our back. For each traveler, we do have a protection plan, which is included. And so it provides coverage for any baggage that's lost, trip cancellations, illnesses, that sort of thing. And then there's a plus one. So the Global Travel Protection Plus is basically allowing you to cancel for any reason up to 24 hours prior to departure. So if you have this and you're out hiking a week before the trip and you break your femur and you obviously don't want to, go to the Galapagos with a broken leg, if you have this Global Travel Protection Plus, you can cancel with no penalties and a refund for all the money that you paid. So just a quick touch on that. And then of course the risk-free enrollment. If you do end up signing up by 9:30, which is Saturday, right? Yes, that's Saturday. You'll have 14 days to cancel. So if you want to hold your spot, it's $95. If you go back and talk to your girl or to your family or decide that it's really not for you, you have up to 14 days after 9:30 to cancel without any sort of penalty. You'll get that deposit back. So let's talk about our first trip, July 2024. Let's go to Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands. So this trip for me personally is like a bucket list trip. I'm a super nerd. I'm a bird nerd. I always talk about how I love to identify birds and see things in the wild. I worked at the Rosamond Gifford Zoo in Syracuse for 10 years as an education coordinator. So a lot of things that we're going to see on this trip, like penguins and iguanas at the zoo. But when we go there and see them in the wild, in real life, it's going to be an amazing journey. So I'm really, really excited for this trip. It's a 9-day trip. We're going to be flying into Quito, which is the capital of Ecuador, and we're going to be spending some time there. We're going to be visiting the equator, which is amazing. There's a super cool, weird museum. It's the Equator Museum, and like eggs stand up on their tippy tops, and I don't know, it's all sorts of weird. If you really want to see kind of what it's like, definitely Google the Equator Museum. It's bizarre, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. So we're gonna go to Quito. That's where we jump off from, and then we're gonna hit the islands. So actually going to be quite a lot of boats. So if you get seasick very easily, if you don't enjoy spending time on the water, this trip might not be for you on for the England, Ireland, and Wales trip. But in order to get to these islands, as you know, they're protected. All the wildlife there is protected. These are protected islands for scientific and ecosystem reasons and historical reasons. And so there's no airports there. There's no really any way to get there unless you travel by boat, which is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be island hopping from San Cristobal, Santa Cruz, and Isabel Island, and spending time there. So here's kind of the line of travel for us here. So we fly into Ecuador, as I mentioned, and then we travel by boat to Santa Cruz. We're going to check out the tortoises. We're going to go to Charles Darwin Research Center with the iguanas, and then travel to another island by boat to see the flamingos and the snorkeling and the sea turtles and the sharks and the seals and all the things. And I'm just over the moon for this trip. I cannot wait. I'm in a Facebook group with some other EF tour guides who have gone to the Galapagos this past summer, and their videos of snorkeling with the seals and with the iguanas, the giant sea tortoises or sea turtles that swim past them, the giant tortoises on the land. It's just, I can't wait. I just can't wait. So if this is your kind of thing, if you love nature, if you love seeing these types of things, if you love being in the ocean, which I do, I'm an ocean person, I highly recommend this trip. So after we get done cruising around the islands, we head back into Quito. We're going to explore the local markets. There's a waterfall in close proximity, so we'll do some hiking. I think there's a chance for us to visit some lava caves there. There's volcanic activity there. And it's just going to be a great trip. And then we fly home. So our dates have been confirmed for this trip, and it's July 10th through the 19th. So it's a 9-day trip. So if this kind of thing excites you, we still have spaces. We have, gosh, about, I would say between 18 and 20 spaces left on this trip. We already have about 45 people going with us. So if you want to go to the Galapagos with us, I would recommend signing up ASAP because I feel like this trip is going to fill. So there you go. See all the wildlife by land and sea on Isabella Island. So we are going to be in bathing suits. We are going to be snorkeling. We are going to be on boats. So keep this in mind. I want to be fully transparent with you that if the sun is not your thing, don't sign up for this trip. I'm super white. I'm going to put that out there. I don't know. You can see me. I think my camera is on, which is why I am excited to go to Ireland as well. I'm Irish and Polish, which is like the whitest of the white here. So I'm going to be traveling with my gallon-sized jug of sunblock, like 70 plus SPF to go on in this trip. So don't worry if you are prone to burning like I am. I'm going to absolutely have a sunblock plan for us when we go. So anyways, if you would like to go with us to the Galapagos, stay tuned. So we have some enrollment information and some pricing for you upcoming in just a few minutes. If you have any questions about this trip or anything you want to chat about, feel free to put that in the chat. Anything you might be excited for, or any, like I said, questions about the wildlife or the itinerary, put them on in the chat. So if that's not for you, our next amazing trip in 2025 is a 10-day tour through England, Ireland, and Wales. And in the background there, you can see the Cliffs of Moher, which are just amazing cliffs to visit. And I don't think we're actually going to be visiting them, but I got to look at the itinerary. Let's see if we can get to that real quick. We're going to be flying into the Shannon Airport and then heading south. So we actually will not be seeing the Cliffs of Moher. The Cliffs of Moher are a little bit north of that. So they should probably change out their picture. But we're going to be heading south into the Killarney region. And when you think of Ireland and the green hills of Ireland and that beautiful, like vibrant sheep everywhere and just green, that's the Killarney region. So we're going to be heading down there. We're going to be going to the Blarney Castle, kissing the Blarney Stone, the Ring of Kerry, heading down into that general vicinity there. Oops, I want to go back. Previous slide. Here we go. After that, we're going to be heading up to Dublin. So Trinity Church and the streets of Dublin and just kind of cruising around there for a while. We're going to be taking a ferry over to Wales and then headed into England for just kind of a tour of these awesome countries here. So there we go. There's our tour highlights. So I already talked about Dublin, the Blarney Castle. We are taking a Tower of London tour, which I've heard is pretty awesome and also kind of scary. That's the place where like folks, I think, got beheaded. I don't know. Correct me if you're wrong, if I'm wrong. Like Anne Boleyn, and, you know, the time during the Troubles. No, that's Ireland. I don't know. I think it's spooky. So we'll find out though. So we're going to the Tower of London. We're actually going to go to Pax Lodge and meet some Girl Guides, and I think there's a pinning there that we're going to get to participate in. So that should be exciting, especially if you're an older Girl Scout, senior ambassador. You know, this is a great culmination of your Girl Scout experience to go on a trip like this and to be able to visit a World Center at Pax Lodge. It's just kind of a once in a lifetime thing. So the London Eye is that big kind of Ferris wheel looking thing. So we're going to go on that. We're going to go on a river cruise. And then on our last day, we're taking a Harry Potter walking tour of London. So if you're a fan of the books or the movies, which I am, I love them, we're going to be sort of ending our trip with Harry Potter and seeing some of the sights in London and around that area that were in the books. So there's that. Let me see. I think we do a little walkthrough. Here we go. Fly overnight, take an excursion to the Ring of Kerry, Blarney Castle, Dublin, etc. When I went on my honeymoon, we went to the north of Ireland. And so I didn't get to see any of this. So I'm really excited to see some of these things. My family is actually from Upperchurch, which is in County Tipperary. So I don't think we're going to be going that far, like into the middle of the country, but proximity counts. So it's going to be kind of cool to see, you know, where my family's from in Ireland on this trip. So Wales, I don't know what to think about Wales. I've actually never thought about Wales before, so I'm excited to go there. We're going to be visiting a Welsh castle and taking a ferry, which I think is kind of exciting and cool because I don't know, it's a boat and it's a fun ferry ride. If you're a fan of Shakespeare, I don't know if anyone out there is a fan of Shakespeare, but we're going to go to Stratford upon Avon and take a tour of Shakespeare's stomping ground, visit his birthplace, and then his wife was Anne Hathaway, not the actress Anne Hathaway, and I don't think she's related, but we're going to visit that as well. And then we're going to head into London and see all the sights and sounds that London has to offer as well. And then on day 10, we'll be traveling home. So that trip is going to be super exciting. The great thing about this trip is that it is, let's see, what's the next? Here we go. The great thing about this trip is that it's a great beginner's trip. So if you've never been on an international trip before, this one, the flight is not very long. It's not a super long flight. They speak English there, which is nice as well. So it's easy to communicate. It'll be easy to, you know, order at restaurants and things like that. And the culture is similar to ours. You know, like I said, my family is from Ireland. They came over in the early 1900s and settled here in Syracuse. And so, you know, we sort of see that culture already here in New York, especially if you're of Irish descent. So the culture is not super different from what we know. So if you've never traveled internationally before, this is a great trip for you. And I did see in the comments in the chat that someone was asking if you had to be 12 at the time of trip. Yes, you have to be 12 plus at the time of trip. Good. And Serafina answered that question. So thank you, Serafina. So this would be something that I would consider a level 1 trip. Additionally, we're not going to be doing a lot of crazy walking. There's not going to be like hiking up mountains and that kind of thing. We did have quite the walks in Japan. And then in Italy and Greece, we were doing a lot of hiking and walking as well when we went last summer. So this trip, I think, is rated by EF as a number 1 trip for that sort of thing, physical activity. So just keep that in mind as well. So like I said, this is a great beginner's trip if you haven't been before, or if you're of Irish, Welsh, or English descent, and or you love Harry Potter, this could be a great trip for you too. So there we go. All right, so what's included in the itinerary? Of course, round trip airfare is included. I've flown a bunch of different airlines with EF Tours, and they're all great. Hotel stays at quality clean accommodations. So all the hotel stays are included, and they are a mix of different kinds of hotels. So in Japan, the hotel rooms were just like your normal like business type hotels. When we went to Italy last summer, some of the hotels were like bed and breakfasts in like Tuscany, which are super cool. These will probably be similar to that as well. I imagine that they're going to be like Western style, Western style hotels that you're used to here. Regional style meals for breakfast. Lunch in the Galapagos is included, which usually doesn't happen on EF tour trips. But I think for the Galapagos Island trips, food is semi-limited on the islands. So lunch is included on the trip to Ecuador and the Galapagos. Lunch is on your own for England, Ireland, and Wales. And this is a great opportunity for girls to sort of branch out and eat the kind of foods that they have been thinking about. So, for example, last year when we went to Italy and Greece, one of our travelers really wanted to eat rabbit. That's what she wanted. And rabbit is a dish that is pretty popular in Italy. And so she was able to find a restaurant and she had a delightful rabbit lunch and it was great. I keep joking in Ecuador that I want to eat a guinea pig. I know it seems kind of weird, but I had a friend that went there and she said she ate a guinea pig on a stick and that was a thing. So I'm not going to back out. I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to eat a guinea pig when we go to Ecuador if it's presented to me. So lunch is a great opportunity to branch out. Dinners are usually family style. We all go together and our tour guide typically has a restaurant that we have a reservation at and we go and we all eat dinner together. Our tour guide is with us 24/7. So whoever we get assigned to, like I said, is likely from the place that we're going. And they're going to travel with us. They're going to be on the bus. They're going to be on the boat. They're going to stay in the hotels with us. They pick us up at the airport. They travel with us the whole time. And then they come to the airport with us to send us home at the end of the tour. All transportation on tour is included as well, including a motor coach bus. Probably not very likely in Ecuador. Like I said, it's going to be a boat. Not really sure how we're going to get around on the islands, but I guess we'll find out when we get there. Expert local guides. So when we do go to the Galapagos, there'll be a guide probably at like the Darwin station or the tortoise place that will tell us a little bit about what we're seeing about the local culture and the local sites. Guided sightseeing, and of course, entrances to landmark attractions. So if we are visiting places like the Darwin station, or we're going to, I think there's like a sheepdog demonstration in Ireland that we go to, all of those things are included with your price. What is not included would be your passport. I doubt that visas are applicable in these situations. But if they are, we'll talk about that. And you're responsible for getting your own visa. Any baggage fees, but if you've been on a trip with me before, I can see some familiar faces here in the audience. We do carry-ons. So at least going there, we do carry-ons. So everyone will be doing a carry-on, and then on the way back, if you want to get luggage, if you want to check bags, you are more than welcome to do that. Typically with international flights, one bag is allowed to go for free. But it really depends on the airline and the location that we're going to. So any additional baggage fees are on you. We typically tip local guides, bus drivers, and our tour director. So these folks work really hard to make sure that our trips are excellent and fun and safe and enjoyable. And so prior to all of our trips, I typically collect between $80 and $100 or so US money, which I then convert to whatever local currency they use. And we pay out the guides and the bus drivers and the tour directors as we go. So that's about $100 or so in addition. Lunches and snacks, of course, are on your own. And I would recommend about $40 per day for lunches and snacks, probably a little less in the Galapagos, and right around there for England, Ireland, and Wales. And then, of course, spending money. There's lots of things to purchase. Local artisans probably are going to be the big thing in Galapagos and Ecuador. I always buy a fridge magnet for my fridge to the places that I go to. I know in Japan, folks were buying kimonos and gorgeous silk kimonos. So anything that you are envisioning that you would want to purchase in these countries that we visit, spending money is on your own. Any questions? Let's see. I know I have a question. That's amazing. Oh, all right. I don't know what that means, but any questions, comments, concerns so far? Potakachi twice. That's awesome. Yes, we're going there. So that's going to be great. If she has any tips and tricks for us, maybe she can, if you end up going on this trip, Nancy, you can have her come talk to us. So here's the big thing, right? Making it happen. This is the pricing for both of these trips. Summer 2024 is soon, which is why when you're looking at the monthly price of this, it's higher than the England, Ireland, and Wales. Obviously, you have a little bit more time to pay that off. So for Girl Scouts, for the Galapagos, it's $47.59. For adults, it's $53.49. You can sign up for a reoccurring payment, like you would do a bill pay, and it just kind of charges you monthly or bi-weekly, I think, for this type of thing. And then for the summer 2025 of England, Ireland, and Wales, obviously, it's a little bit less per month because it's further out. $49.34 for the Scouts and $55.94 for the adults. So risk-free enrollment, if you enroll by 9/30, you have 14 days to get a full refund, $95 holds your spot. So like I said, if you're thinking about it, you're not sure, you want to check with folks and see if this is really something that you want to do, you are more than welcome to enroll now and cancel anytime within the next 14 days. So we do through council, I'm a council employee and Serafina is as well. We try to make it easy for you to participate in money earning projects. So we do participate in cookies. And I know some of you have done cookies with me before. I signed us up for council booths, and you can also do your individual orders and booth orders through me. And all the money you earn goes right back to your trip. I take all of that into consideration and I send the check right to EF Tours and it gets applied to your trip. Treats, Reads, and More is coming up soon, and it's a really easy way to participate in fundraising. And I think don't tell anyone at work, but I feel like that stuff is so much more delicious. There's like dill pickled peanuts and Thai chili trail mix and stuff. So if you've never done Treats, Reads, and More before, it's a great way to earn money for trips like this. And it's easy. You just send out emails. You don't have to go door to door. You don't have to have the product. You just send out the email, people order, and you get paid for it. So it's kind of cool.
And they make really great holiday presents. So if you need to encourage family members, everybody can get candy and nuts for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever's going on in the next couple months.
Yeah, I love the you got Raisinets are like TM'd or whatever, but like the chocolate covered raisins, I love them. I'm addicted to them. Every time Product Sales has them in the office, I'm like, I'll just take a couple of those. They're so good. I just love them. And Serafina's right. Holiday season is coming up. So, folks don't really know that we sell things like that. So they're a little bit more likely to purchase them from you. If you do sign up for these trips, you get a customizable tour donation page as well. So I always like joke in my family, like if I have to get somebody one more Lego set for Christmas, I don't even want to see another Lego in my whole life. I'd rather get folks experiences, right? Like if you have this link to your donation page, you can send it out to grandma, to your, Aunt Anne, to Uncle Tommy, and they can donate directly to your tour. And you can talk to them about why you're going, what you want to see, all of those types of things. So that's kind of a neat thing about this. If you enroll now for 2024 or 2025, you'll get the $200 discount. And then, of course, there's scholarships that go through EF as well, which is kind of a neat thing too. So that's it. This is it, friends. Who's in? Saturday, September 30th. We do this kind of quick. I have done it earlier in the summertime, and folks are out and about and on vacations and things like that. And now that we're back to school and back to troop, it's a great way to sort of pass this information out there. Saturday, September 30th is the deadline to enroll for some of these discounts. And for the risk-free enrollment and that sort of thing. If you wish to enroll after that, it's open. We're not closing enrollment, but you won't be able to take advantage of some of these things that we talked about tonight. So spaces for Galapagos are definitely limited. So if you are interested in that trip, I would recommend that you sign up kind of soon. And then 2025 is pretty open right now. So just keep that in mind. If you enroll by midnight tonight, you'll be entered to win a raffle that you could possibly win an additional $150 off your tour. to be included with that $200 discount that you get tonight. And that's it. So let's see. If you want to go on your phone and just use the QR code here, you can scan it and it will take you to the tour website. So it'll be all the information that we talked about today, the dates, the itinerary, and more information about EF Tours and what they do. So the sleeping arrangements, that's a great question. So it really depends. In Japan, we had between 2 and 4 girls per room, and they each got their own bed. There was one night where there were a couple of rooms where girls had to share a bed. It does not happen very often, and we typically, do the rooming assignments like on the bus, and we'll see about like best friends that come together or sisters that come together, and make sure that it's okay with them before we assign girls who might be sleeping in the same bed with each other. So like I said, it doesn't happen very often. It does occasionally happen. So I just want to make that transparent. But typically, the way that I run my tours is that I let girls room with who they want to. So, if they're coming with their best friend, if they've met someone on the bus that they really like and they just kind of click with them and they're like, hey, we should room tonight, we can make that happen. Super flexible. Want to make sure that girls have a good time on this trip. So take all those things into consideration when making sleeping arrangements. You also can upgrade. So you can upgrade to a single room. You can upgrade to a family room. Yep, adult sleeping. So unless you upgrade to a single room, you will be placed with another adult to room with. And it's usually just a pair, 2 people per room. You will not have to share a bed, but you would be paired with another adult that's coming on the trip. To upgrade, I usually upgrade to a single room just because they're long days and I need space at the end of a day. So I typically upgrade, and it's usually, I think on my last trip, it was like $45 a day or something to upgrade to a single room. So I took advantage of that and it was pretty good. So there are some different options if you're worried about sleeping arrangements and that sort of thing. If you want to come as a family, I have a family coming to the Galapagos with us. So mom, dad, and 2 sisters. And I believe that they're going to upgrade to a family room. So for the whole trip, they'll be rooming together as a family unit. And the price is pretty nominal for that kind of upgrade. Any other questions out there that I can answer for folks? Feel free to unmute yourself as well. Like I said, there's not a ton of people here. Yep, you absolutely can. I can send you the link. This was recorded to the cloud. So what I can do after this presentation is over in a few minutes here is I'll send you the link and the password for Zoom, and you can show it to your troop. You can pass it on to parents, whoever you want to. And of course, they can reach out to me as well. That's my email address down there, lishschmidt@gsnypenn.org. And then, anything that you all need, I'll be more than happy to answer. Any other questions? Comments, concerns? Christy, you went on a trip, you went on our Japan trip with us. Do you want to talk a little bit about, oh, you're in your car. How was your Japan trip? What are you interested in now? Not Christy, I'm sorry, Lily.
It's actually me on my mom's phone, but
it's like, you don't look like Christy. Liliana.
I'm here, I'm driving.
Mom's driving, actually.
Oh, good. How was Japan? Tell us about your trip. Why are you back? Why do you want to?
Japan was awesome. The people I went with were awesome. The whole trip, everyone that ran the trip was awesome. It was just really cool. And now I'm trying to see if I can do another one, hopefully.
Yeah. Which one? England, Ireland, and Wales, or Galapagos?
Hopefully the Galapagos, but also maybe, I don't know. I'm still debating. We don't know yet.
You're a good cookie seller too, though. So I know you sell a lot of cookies to help you on with this trip too. So, yeah. And then, go ahead.
Go on the trip, everyone. It's really cool. Go on the trip. It's awesome.
It's really cool. Lily, did you know on the trip, or did you go by your lonesome? I know your mom was there, but did you know any other girls on the trip?
My friend from school was there, and my friend from dance class was there, and then my friend from dance class's friend was there. So
And you guys all became really close.
we were all very good friends. So even though a lot of us didn't know each other in the beginning, everyone didn't really know each other, we became really good friends really, really quickly. We made really good friends on this trip. It's very cool.
Good. Do you have any tips, any words of advice for anyone that might be thinking
Don't
about
worry
going on
about
these trips?
packing.
What'd you say?
I was gonna say, don't worry about the packing. Like, cause that was my biggest fear was when you said we could only bring a carry-on. I was like, oh my God, I'll never be able to do it. And it was so much easier than I thought it was gonna be.
Yep.
Much easier. It's much easier than you think it is.
Yep, it is definitely much easier. But I, for one, I know that I bought a big piece of luggage and shoved it with all the souvenirs and stuff that I bought and checked it on my way back. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for unmuting yourself. So yeah, this is it. It's awesome. It's a great time. Like I said, these trips can be life-changing in a lot of ways. So if you are interested, feel free to use that QR code. I can put it back up for a minute here if you want. And or reach out to me. If you need me to come chat with your troop, let us know because we can certainly do that as well. And that's it. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything else that folks want to know about before we call it a night here? I think the Galapagos trip will be very light packing because it's going to be like 4 bathing suits. So that's it. All right. Well, thank you all very much for coming and joining us this evening. I hope to see you on some of these trips. Feel free to spread the word. And of course, let us know if you have any questions or concerns. We'd be more than happy to answer all that for you. And in the follow-up email, I'm going to send out the link to this Zoom meeting so that you can share it with everyone that you want to. So if there's no more questions or comments or concerns, we're going to say goodnight and register before 9:30 to save your spot. And we'll see you soon. Have a great night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Take care, everybody.